Good morning. I'm having all the technical difficulties this morning yet again. How are we doing this morning? Good morning, Laurel. Yes, I'm here. Barely, but I was trying to work out some of the bugs that we were experiencing the last week and with no luck. So we're just streaming on YouTube today because it seems like anytime I start the Twitch, it just fails. And there's lots of people over here. I don't have that many followers on Twitch, so it is what it is. Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I got a sick kid, so hopefully I don't have to just up and bail, but I don't know just yet. Please use... I don't know. There's something going on. I don't know how to fix it. It's telling me to do something and I don't know how to do it. So y'all have to let me know if there's a big delay. I don't see the chat on the screen. Okay, my plugin's not working. Give me 1 second. Okay, we'll see if that starts working. And I don't think it'll show back chat. It'll have to, you'll have to send another message to see if it works. So it seems like the chat's not going to work today. I guess I don't really need it on the screen since it's all YouTube chat anyway. We're not going to have any Twitch people here today. Yeah, she woke up. She's still not feeling well. And she was trying to push through for band, but it's looking like that's not going to happen. All right, I'm going to get to stitching because that's what we're here for this morning. I'm going to try and get through my 2 daily 100s and maybe some extra stitching. But today is a day. It's just, I don't know what to expect. So we're going to start with Alice. Oh, I guess I need to keep the chat up because it's not going to come on the screen. I'm wondering if I need to use a different computer or what's going on. Okay, we're going to switch to the other screen. Let me go ahead and get my camera mostly in the way. We're working down here today. I think, there we go. I think this block is going to be, no, this one's got some confetti. Here soon I'm going to be getting into blocks of lots of just black, which will be nice because it'll go fast. And I've lost my chat again. Where'd it go? Just threw my bobbin across the room, but hey, that's cool. She's looking so good. So I think I'm going to try and finish her next year. We'll see. That sounds so funny. Because I still have like, 36,000 stitches almost. But I'm going to try. We'll see. Are you working on Thine is the Trick this morning, Laurel? I think Lexi's home. Yep. Hey Kate, welcome in. 3,000 a month. I think the way I figured it the other day was it was going to be about 700 stitches a week. But of course I'll get some more stitching between now and then, so that number should lower a bit. But it's probably about what we're looking at. Good morning, Kate. What are you working on today? That stitch is in the wrong place. Way to start my morning. There we go. Back up the mic a little bit because I feel like I keep hitting it. Autumn in the Pines. Oh, your new start? Your new start? Yay. Hey, Enid. Welcome in. Love a good new start around here. I am working on Mini Alice in a Dolly Dream. This is what it's going to look like. So we're over in here currently. I can't seem to find the right hole. How are you this morning, Enid? Are you getting some nice weather? It is overcast and cool here. I didn't even kick on the AC. I might need to in about an hour or so, but so far this morning it's been lovely. I'm hoping it stays overcast. It'll make my nap this afternoon nice. I see something's going on because my computer's running all crazy. I don't think it got even into the 60s here yesterday. We barely got any rain, which isn't good. Yeah, we haven't gotten any rain. It's been overcast yesterday and today, but no actual precipitation. I think Odessa said they haven't had any rain in like 42 days, 43 days, something like that. Two, three, 4, 5. It looks gray outside right now. Yeah, it's pretty dark here too. Just popped in to say hi, going back to bed. Good night, Kate. It's Saturday. We need late starts. If it were a normal Saturday, I might have postponed this, but since I have to take a nap this afternoon, I was like, I need to be getting up so that I'll be able to lay back down. going to be 64 is a high, only 10% chance of precipitation. I think we're getting into the 70s. Yeah, our high today is 76. And I don't think we expect any precipitation at all, but super windy. It's been windy for days. Which I can take low temperatures if there's no wind. But as soon as you get that wind in there, even like 70 can be too cold. So since we have wind today, it's going to be a pretty comfortable day at 76. I'm going to even wear long sleeves to the event tonight. So I'm working on getting this. My pattern keeper's being a butt. Reboot. I'm working on getting this daily 100 done. I do have one other daily 100 for the Great British Baking Show, and then just do some regular stitching. It's supposed to be like 78 there. Another source says 58 is a high and 20% chance of rain. Isn't it lovely how nobody can make up their mind? And even if they could, like, it's always a prediction. Weather's gonna do what it's gonna do. My eyes are apparently very tired this morning because I'm struggling to see the screen. Oh, Ninja Stitch. You are the only one. Oh, so the last time I was here, we were having a conversation about TV shows. And I could not for the life of me remember the third brand new show that I started watching. So we talked about Dr. Odyssey. That one has Joshua Jackson, and he's a doctor on a cruise ship. We talked about Brilliant Minds. It has Zachary Quinto, and he's a doctor. I like my medical dramas. With a condition to where he has facial blindness. He can't differentiate people's based on their looks. That one's pretty interesting. The one I started but I could not remember is called Rescue High Surf. And it's about lifeguards in Hawaii and all the fun stuff they get to do. So that is the one. Ryan was trying to help me. Vic was trying to help me. Could not think of what the new show was. And that's it. What the heck? My pattern keeper is being extra this morning. We haven't had measurable rain in 27 days. Yeah, it's been like 40 something here. Of course, I do live in the desert, so there's that. Yeah, like this block here is almost completely black. It's got 4 colors that aren't black. And that makes up for 2, 4, 8 of the stitches. So that one's gonna go so fast, but I gotta finish this row first. Semi-arid. Good morning, Deborah. Welcome in. You slept in. That's what Saturdays are for. I sent your package off yesterday, ma'am. We are working on Minnie Alice and a Dolly Dream this morning, trying to get my daily 100 in this block. I will have no stitching time outside of streaming this morning, so I'd like to get my daily requirements done. Yeah, if you sleep in, you miss the stream. Streams are fun, but sleep is good. I spent a dreadful amount of time last night trying to figure out where I had an error on Soul Tropica. Something's not right. Okay, hold on. Gotta move all these over. They're not. This one's right, but of course it's the last stitch I put in, so I still gotta take it out. I spent so much time last night trying to figure out where that error was in Soul Tropica, and it was so minute. If I had kept with how I had been doing, where I was just working top down, I would have been fine, but I was trying to come over from the side because I'm on a page split, and I need to not do that. You just woke up. Typing is difficult. Need caffeine. Happy for my happy mail. Hope it comes today. Are you expecting other happy mail? Because I don't think mine's going to get there today. As much fun as that would be. One. Oh, man. There we go. Hey, Catherine, how are you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. I had to forward that Gus Gus mug that you sent me to my daughter. She thought it was great. He's so cute. Just yours. I really wish we all had teleportation devices and we could just, here you go. I also wish I had a teleportation device to get me to work because an hour and a half drive is too much. You want the mug? Yeah, it was very cute. Adjusting the camera slightly. I wonder if there's a way to make that bigger. Oh, that's better. I can read it now. I'm working on my husband's stocking and I'm down to the last 2,200 stitches. It seems to be taking forever. Stockings are big. Well, and you've got that feeling when you're close to a finish and you're like, oh, I'll just finish it. But then it seems to go on and on and on. You're like, I was so close. Why is this taking forever? Okay. My color's done. Hydrate, hydrate. Well, I parked that in a funky place. Why did I do that? Nope, Nope, just kidding. There's nothing parked there. Let's try again. What is this one? Nope, it's just parked in the wrong spot. That's all it is. It's one of the reasons I really like Pattern Keeper because I mark where I park something. So when I come up, like just now, it was 1 square too far left. So when I saw that on my pattern keeper, nothing was marked for 1 square too far left, but there was one to the right of that, then I can go and check the color and be like, yeah, I just parked in the wrong spot. Because I do that sometimes. I'm in a confetti heavy area, so we're constantly changing threads, but as you can see, I have a lot of them parked. So that helps it to move faster rather than having to pull each of those threads individually. It's part of the reason I do the parked method. And one of the reasons that when you start a new page, it can be daunting because you're like, man, I don't have anything parked. I've got to pull every thread that I work on today. Ninja stitch. There's not very many colors in the next block that I'll work on down here. Of course, that's over a week from now, but it's kind of a checkerboard situation where I've got 2 colors that are... So those can be tedious, but not as bad as ninja stitches. I started this project in June of 2018. And I'm hoping I might finish it next December. We'll see. I've never been really good at focusing on full coverages before, but I'm going to try something new next year. I had one last night like that. It was a great save for me since I'm counting challenged. Yeah, I can be too. Or like you get in too big of a hurry and just go, oh, this looks good. Well, and I have the gridding, so you would think, oh, well, you'll know exactly where it is, but yet sometimes I forget that the last row is on the gray grid, and so I always want to just not include the grid. So if it's supposed to be 3 from the end, I'll do 3 from the grid line, but the last one is supposed to be on the grid line, if that makes sense. So sometimes I do that to myself. There's nothing like cross stitch to teach you can't count to 10. Yep. I blame my eyes. Like, I can count to 10, but what did I skip? Because sometimes my eyes move faster than... Hey, Ebony, welcome in. Good morning, good morning. I'm sure it's afternoon where you're at, but how are you today? It is Saturday. Which means I have to go back to work tomorrow. Actually, I'm doing some work tonight, so there's that. Luckily, tomorrow's a slow day at work. Afternoon. Lazy day stitching. That's the best day ever. I had to play some catch up yesterday. So on Thursday, I was doing this thing where like I would do 100 stitches and then go like clean the stove. Do 100 stitches, go do a load of dishes. Do 100 stitches, clean off the dining room table. My kitchen's looking really good. But I was also playing Monopoly. So it was my turn on Monopoly. So I had to get 500 stitches on one project. One specific project, which happened to be Lilith of Labrador. And so by the time I sat down later that night, like I hadn't gotten any of my daily 100s done. So yesterday I had to do my daily 100s for Thursday and for Friday. And then I was able to get a little bit of other stitching done on Zoom last night. And so today we're back to being flush, and I just got to get today's daily 100s done. I'm not going to get a lot of stitching time today, so I'm going to try and get it done here on stream. Oh my goodness, all the ninja stitches this morning. Sometimes don't you wish you could pick which block you work on? I mean, not that anything's stopping me other than my own brain, but the block next to this one is almost one solid color. That would have been nice. But the nice thing is I had threads parked, so there's only one color that I'm going to have to pull. Well, maybe two, because this one doesn't look like enough to finish the whole block. But it was started as a parked thread. What are you stitching on, Ebony? It's very windy outside here. New categories come out tomorrow for November, so that's pretty exciting. And pretty much when I pull for November, that decides our December too, because you only have so many left. So I'll probably just go ahead and put out both of those tomorrow. And we're already through a whole nother year. Isn't that crazy to think about? I'm stitching on Christmas Gift for Your Mother-in-Law. Tons of backstitch, and is taking you ages. Is it accent try that again. Is it accent backstitching or like where you have to basically outline everything? I don't mind backstitching that accent something. It feels like it goes fairly fast. But when you're just like all the way around something, too much. But backstitching makes such a difference on most pieces. There was one I did that, like, it was all font. It was big, blocky font. And they wanted me to outline the entire thing. I'm like, nope, we don't need the outline. Thanks. Unshrimp yourself. Stretch the back. I feel like I put my camera, like, you're seeing a lot of board. And I'm like, down here. What's everybody's plans for lunch? I need some ideas. This has outlined everything, but not in stair step. It has like the illustrated look, if that makes sense. Yeah. Ooh, almost missed one. All right, so this is our last parked thread. I don't know if it'll finish up this block, except for this one stitch right here, which is a different color. So we got to fill in all the rest. And I don't know if this is long enough, but we'll see. So we're getting close to our finish on this one. And so I play along with Jesse's game of Great British Baking Show. And it comes out Fridays here in the United States on Netflix. I do believe European countries get it a few days sooner, and we're not quite sure when Australia gets it. But anyway, so it comes out on Fridays for me. So I watched it yesterday, and today's when I start the new Daily 100 based on who the star baker was. So I get to pull out a new project today. Not like new, but a different one. We stitched on Sol Tropica all last week. And this week's is one that I haven't stitched on in a while. So it'll be exciting to pull it out again. That did not go in the hole that it was supposed to. Yeah, I'm running really low on thread here. I'm about to have to pull a new piece. And I do my full coverages 1/1 on 28 count. So, tends to be kind of tiny. How long is this piece? Not that long. We're going to leave that alone. All right, we'll just pull another one. 8/17. Very quiet morning this morning. I think I need to make more spiced tea. I can have a hot drink. Today I just brought water. And I'm not a coffee drinker, so this one had quite a bit of confetti in it, so the back is getting a little harder to get through. My needle is protesting. We are just being finicky this morning. My goodness. I'm gonna be ready to switch projects. Good morning, Holly. Late to the party, but I'm here. Fell back asleep this morning. Hey, body needs rest. We are just about to finish up Daily 100 on Mini Alice in a Dolly Dream. And then we're going to pull out my Daily 100 for Great British Baking Show. And then we'll just see what we can get done before I need to log off. Probably around 11:30 today, so that I can eat before I go and lay down. I'm taking a nap in the middle of the day in an attempt to balance out the fact that I'm not going to get a lot of sleep between my private security job tonight and my, company security job tomorrow. Try not to make myself too tired. But luckily there's not a lot going on at work tomorrow. Like, nobody comes in on Sundays, so there's at least that. We're fighting through some thick stitching on the back of this thing. All right. Last stitch is in the only one that didn't have a park thread this morning. Yeah, because we're supposed to get done with the party at midnight. By the time we make it home, it'll be about 12:30. And then I get up at 3:30 to leave for work. So it's going to be a doozy. 3771. I may talk Ryan into making dinner tomorrow, and that way I can come home, eat, and go to sleep. I'll have to spend the time cooking. Last little stitch here. Sometimes you gotta wonder, was it really worth pulling a whole new thread for this? Couldn't I have just used the color that was around it? Possibly, but since I don't know, I just do what the chart tells me to do. I will say, had I accidentally stitched through that because I wasn't paying enough attention, I wouldn't have pulled it just to restitch one stitch in a different color. But all right, that's 100 on Alice. We did this block right here. It's crazy how good it makes it look, huh? You go from all these colors, they don't make any sense, and then you get the whole block in, you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. So we are going to switch projects. She is. I'm very excited. We'll pull back so y'all can kind of, I mean, a lot of it's up in the Q-snap, but y'all can see where we're at. I'm really excited about the possibility of finishing her next year, even though I feel like that's kind of asking a lot. 700 stitches a week, but man, she looks good. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to do two things. One is sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, some math. Come on, phone. Calculator. All right. So we have, this project is 77,500 minus, we have completed 41,900. That leaves 35,600 divided by 52 weeks in the year. We need 684 stitches a week right now. Now I am going to get to work on her a couple more times this year, at least. So that'll come down, but I still think we're going to be around the 650 range every week. So I'm thinking I don't alternate between her and Phoenix or Phantom next year. It'll just be Alice every week. So that's daily 100. That makes 300 a week. So then on either Friday night or Sunday afternoon, I need to get 400. I think that's manageable. Just make her your daily 100 till she's done, which is a great idea, but that's what, 410 days, which is more than a year, right? 900 divided by... Yeah, that's more than a year. Well, I guess if I started now. The problem is trying to do full coverage at work. It's just... It can be a pain. It can be a pain. So, stop tempting me, Holly. We're going to do it next year. We're going to, like I said, daily 100 for 3 days a week and then 400 on a day that I can focus. I think I can manage. We'll get it done. Okay. And I'll probably, y'all know I don't like to stop at 50s and 25s and things like that. So it'll probably be 700 every week. And then we'll finish her up before the end of the year, right? Or make allowances for weeks that, I'm going to miss stitching time. Those happen to me sometimes. All right, let me pull up my pattern. Maybe. I have not stitched on this one in so long. Oh my goodness. Oh, the other thing I was going to show y'all. Because I have gotten a lot of comments, and I'm going to sit down and do a whole tutorial video. There was a lot of problems last week at work, so I didn't get to have my computer for most of the week. So this is my Notions app. And when I come here, I've got my checklist of all the stuff that I need to stitch on. But what we have here is the calendar. And so typically what I'll do, you can see I'm a few days behind because any spare time has been focused on stitching. So I don't always come in here. But so today is the 19th. I will click on it. I will tell it new item. So Alice is my daily 100. So the title of each individual entry is not searchable, but when you go into the project, it'll show you all these entries. And so you could be like, oh, that's why I worked on it. So I always say what it's for in the daily 100 or in the title. So I put in 100 stitches because it was a block. And then I pick the whip, which is Minnie Alice in a Dolly Dream. And I say done. And so the entry looks just like this. Okay. And actually I've worked on her for 3 days in a row and I haven't put in the last 2 days. So let me show y'all what I do. So I hit these 3 buttons up here and I say duplicate. So it looks exactly the same, right? But that other one is saved also. So if you went to the calendar, you would see 2 entries that looked exactly alike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one to yesterday. And all that information is exactly the same. Now, if I need to edit how many stitches I did, that's easy enough to do. But now this is saved as a second entry. So I need to do that one more time because I worked on it for 3 days in a row. I'm just going to change it to October 17th and say done. Now, when I go back a few times, come back to my calendar, now you see 3 dots. I have 1 entry on each of those days, and I didn't have to sit there and fill everything out again and again. So that is a shortcut that I use all the time. And then, what else? Oh, so then if I go into my projects, Minnie Alice in a Dolly Dream. So if I go in here and I scroll down, you could see, so I started out the year just giving it the date. And because I didn't really understand what that field did. And then when I realized it, I was like, oh, let me go back. Let me start saying what it's for. And so you could see Alice, the only thing I do for Alice is daily 100s. Sometimes I say daily 100 at home. Sometimes I say daily 100. This one just said daily. But you could see all the ways that. So like if I go to something else like Miss Christmas Eve, And the beginning of the year, I started with the date. I've used it for categories for the last couple months. I can't remember what. Oh, at one point I was like, I'm not stitching on this for any particular reason. Let me just name it like an abbreviation of the title, Miss Christmas Eve. And then I did the date thing again. So let me show you one that's more fun. Let's see, Sol Tropica, maybe. So it got called for WIPGO. It was a category. It was a spin on Arbitrary August, and now it was Star Baker. So see, it's really, it can be really neat way of kind of telling yourself, what did I do this year? So Sol Tropica so far this year has gotten 2,525 stitches. The yearly goal is 3,000. So I actually still need 475 stitches to have met my yearly goal on this. But as you can see from here, there's only 3 Star Bakers and there should be 7. So I have to go in and put more entries. But on this one, I will have to change. Okay, so let me see. I put in the 14th. Sol Tropica. Luckily, my counter app keeps track of what days I did what. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to change it to the 15th. And I did 115 stitches. So outside of the blocks on the full coverage, my daily 100s are never actually just 100. I don't stop if I have a thread to finish out. Okay, so that was the 15th. I'm going to duplicate it. We're going to go to the 16th. And that way I don't have to type in this Star Baker every time. I don't have to look for the WIP every time, especially if you're not in good service and this will take forever to load, which is something that happens to me a lot. This shortcut is really nice. And it automatically saves, so you don't even have to like, click save and move on. Nope, just duplicate again. I worked on it yesterday. Oh, so, I didn't get to work on it Thursday because of stuff and things. So on the 18th, I actually did 209 because I had to make up for 2 days. So now when we go back into Sol Tropica, and I've got 6 entries, but 7 things, I now only need 46 stitches on this to hit my yearly goal. So, but I have a lot more stitching that needs to be done on that because of the Great British Bake Off. So, there's that. Let's get to working on our next WIP. If y'all have any questions about notions, please feel free to ask. I've gotten quite a few. There's some things I can't show you on the phone. I have to go to the website, but I need to get the, what's it called? There's a formula for how it does my whole goal versus completed and all that, but I'd have to look that up on my computer. I had to get help with that one in particular. Okay. Let's see. I will adjust my camera. Give me 1 second. And then when I put all those entries in, I will zero out my counter again. But okay, we're working on Trick or Treat. Okay. So, this boom arm is not my favorite, but okay, this is Trick or Treat from Cottage Garden Samplings. And I'm just doing a daily 100, so we're going to work in this area. On Notion, do you use a template or did you do it all yourself? I bought a template from Stitching a Tea. She's on Instagram as stitchy.nati. And if you go to her Instagram page, she has a link tree and then you can go to her Gumroad. I think it was $9, and that's the template I bought. Now I have modified it. Some of the stuff that I've showed you is stuff that I put in there that isn't part of the template, but it gives you a good starting point. The main things I've changed is because I don't use time. So I removed any of the stuff that had to do with tracking your hours, because I don't do that. I left the beads and flosses and stuff in there, but I don't really use them. I added in a goal, like what my yearly goal is on it, and I added in the basically like countdown, right? So as I put in each of those entries, it subtracts it from the goal and gives me what I have left to complete. And and then I have, like I said, a formula that a friend helped me set up. So I would have to copy and paste it. But if I get to 0, it will pop up on there and say complete. So and then of course I've just moved some stuff around, but those are the modifications I've made as I got used to the Notions. Okay, so this is Trick or Treat from Cottage Garden Samplings. It is my daily 100 for Great British Baking Show. Typically, I'll do a strand here and then a strand on border. But as you can see, I don't have a lot of border room, and I don't want to keep moving the camera. So for today, we're just going to work in this block. I have 2 out of the 9 blocks completed. So I'm going to get to stitching on that. And then I'll tell you that, I was going to tell you something else about Notions, and I forgot. Oh, when I first started, a lot of people use it as a database to keep track of all their stuff. And that's great. And I'll be there eventually. But I didn't want to stress myself out. So the first thing I did is, like today, I pull out Trick or Treat, I stitch on it, and I go to add it to my calendar like I just showed y'all how I do. And let's say that this is a new project and I don't have it in there, like it's not in my status or whatever. I will there's a way to just like add it. So then, okay, so for example, I would put in Great British Baking Show Star Baker. I would put in, I did 112 stitches. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And I would, and of course the date would be in there. And so when I went to put in the project, instead of it popping up like Soul Tropica did, I would then, or Mini Alice and Dolly Dream, it would say create new. And then you click on that, and then you go into it take you straight to the project card where you could put in all the other information. And then it's there. Now, anytime I want to work on this, it's already in the database. So I did that. So at the beginning of the year, every time I worked on something, and I added it in until all my whips are in there. And then slowly throughout the year, I have been adding, kitted up stuff. Thank you. This is Trick or Treat from Cottage Garden Samplings. Gosh, because I'm like, ooh, I need to kit that. I will put it in there and tell myself, hey, you need to kit this. But slowly, like, I haven't overwhelmed myself with, let's just take everything and try and get it all added. Especially because if y'all could see my Google Drive, that's scary. That's really scary. I'm not going to go through and add all those. I'll add them as they become kitted or as they become whips. Just to keep everything under control. But I know people who have sat there and added all their flosses, added all their fabrics. I'll add new fabrics as they come in. Like I played the Fight Nights last night. I have a piece of fabric coming in. When it gets here, I'll go ahead and add it to Notions before I put it on my shelf. But otherwise, Fabrics get in there whenever I create the project that they go into. I do too. I really I have changed my way of organizing a dozen times since starting stitching. And so anytime I come across something new, I'm like, "Oh, that's super exciting." And it it's a refresh. Um but man, Notions has been the biggest change because it tracks everything I want it to track, but I don't have to write it in 10 different places like I was having to do when I was keeping like paper trackers and stuff like that. So plus it automatically does the math for me. I don't have to go in and do all the math. So that's really nice too. I need other side. Okay. Okay. Trying to make sure I don't lose my place. So highlight often. Today will probably be pretty much all black because there's plenty of it in this block. This is a black cat wrapped around a pumpkin. And I messed up when doing the border on the next row of blocks. I made them one stitch too short, but I didn't want to have to go in and pull out all the border that I put in. So it works fine with most of like what's supposed to be in the blocks, except for this one. It would have meant some real finagling or cutting something off. So I'm actually going to swap this block and one of the bottom blocks because it'll fit in there better. So no big deal. Just slight modifications that make it mine, right? This is 2/2 on 32 count, which is my happy place outside of 40 count for doll. Currently, I input daily stitch amounts on StitchPal. Then before each floss tube, I input into a spreadsheet to get totals, but I'm looking into consolidate that process. Yeah, that exactly. And Notions is so good at doing that for me. I'll show you one other thing. In case I need to sell you on this, not really. Again, and this part of it completely comes from Stitchy Natie's template. And she does have a video on FlossTube on how to start using it. I'm going to go to last month. So, somewhere. She has this thing in here. And this is all about filters, creating this database. I can do it, but it takes me a minute. Okay, so you see where it says monthly and weekly views? It's going to not focus because... Thank you. Anyway, monthly and weekly views. And I come in here and let's say I go to September 2024. I really need it to focus. Come on. Okay, there we go. So you could see this is every entry that I put onto that calendar for the month of, I don't know why it keeps trying to change to August. September 1st through September 30th. Why? Okay, we're going to go back. My September one's broken. I don't know why. Here's August. So this is every entry that I put in on the calendar in August. And then when you come down to the bottom, so these are all my stitch counts, right? When you come down to the bottom, my total stitch count for August was 14,750. It did the math for me. It even tells me there's 29 unique dates over here. Now, this one, I had 2 entries for the 25th, right? It's not counting each entry, it's counting unique entries. So I stitched 29 out of 31 days in August. And then if you come over here, this one is unique projects. So I stitched on 30 different projects in the month of August. It does all of that for you. All you have to do is update it every day. And like I said, I don't even necessarily update it every day because my counter app will tell me, okay, you stitched this much on the 29th and this much on the 30th. I'll go back and add in those numbers when I'm ready. And then it takes care of all the rest of it all by itself. It's great. Super handy. I know that wasn't the clearest, but hopefully you get an idea. Okay. I almost had a heart attack. I went to switch on my Costco Disney Halloween house thing. I frantically flicked the switch back and forth, no worky. I was like, oh my god, it's broken, freaking out. So I actually looked at the back, unplugged. Yeah. Isn't it fun when we do stuff like that? Okay, I'm gonna get this back here. I think. Actually, I think I'm gonna. It's been okay. I'm gonna show y'all one more thing. And this is one that I was helping a friend out on this, and she realized it did this, and it was pretty cool. So if let me go to my main page. Projects and patterns. All right, so it's gonna load and load and load. All right, so this just tells you I've completed my yearly goal on it. But if I scroll over here, there's a filter called last seen, and it will look at when you put in entry dates on a calendar and tell you when you last worked on whatever piece. So this is Trick or Treat. Let me sort it by name. This is Trick or Treat. Come down here, scroll over, and I last worked on it September 18th. No, that's the start date. August 13th is the last time I worked on Trick or Treat. August 3rd, I worked on Mystery. I've worked on it since then, I think. I may have to do some work on this because I think I've worked on things since then. But anyway, it helps you to be able to know when you last worked on something, how long it's been, that sort of thing. I wonder if I just forgot to put in the last time I worked on Mystery Kitty on the calendar. Or I worked on it in September. My September calendar is wonky right now. I don't know what is going on. Holly says she loves that it shows you when you last worked on something. So sometimes if you're like, man, I don't know what it is I want to work on today, you can look in the last scene and go, well, Trick or Treat hasn't been worked on in months. Maybe we should pull it out and work on it a little bit. Or if, like one of our categories, or one of my categories is, like stitch on something you haven't touched yet this year. So then you just need to sort it by date and go, okay, all these 2023s work for that category. And then you work on them. I used to have to go through a calendar in a spot, like a planner, and go and start at last month. Okay, these were worked on. Month before that, these were worked on, and go back to try and find what hadn't been worked on in the longest amount. Hey Jessie, welcome in. How you doing today? I think I just messed up. I told you I need to be highlighting. Fine. Yep, I gotta pull some stitches. How is personal sunshine? Okay, why? Why are you being stubborn? There we go. Just stitching and stitching like I don't have other colors in this section. She's good. 12,106 stitches to go. Got Emily out of the house and settling in for some more stitching. That's what we're doing around here. We're stitching. I did 100 on Alice at the beginning of stream. And now I'm working on Trick or Treat. This is my Star Baker for the week. Which is nice because, like I was telling them, I haven't seen this project in quite a while. And then we'll see if we get to stitch on something else for a little bit. I have to leave about 11:30 today. 11:30 Central, so I can get some food and take a nap before work tonight. So I imagine all your Great British Bake Off, baking show, whatever, stitches are going to Personal Sunshine this week. How many did that end you up with? And Holly, you're doing it the same way as Jessie, right? Yeah, so we had a friend that we used to work with. Like he used to work security with us, and he's been out of the field for a hot minute. He does a lot of things with the county and stuff. Anyways, he gives us a call a couple weeks ago and says, "Hey, are y'all still doing security?" And we said yes. And he's like, we're looking for some security to do some events. And like basically because they haven't had a security company that they could revert to. So then they have to pay the sheriffs, and the sheriffs charge quite a bit of money. And so he's like, if you're interested, you can undercut the sheriffs by like so much, and then you get the business. So tonight we're doing his daughter's Sweet 16 party. Because anytime they rent out like a public building, let's say, like oh, my brain's not working. Like a civic center or whatever, and they serve alcohol, they have to have security on location. So they're going to have beer at the party tonight. They have to have security. So we're going to be hanging out at a Sweet 16 for 4 hours tonight. And it's pretty good money. So, hello, welcome in. Great British Baking Show is all personal sunshine, 3,000 for this week. Ooh. Dang. Well, I was going to do it that way, but I decided to keep with a category for each baker. Gotcha. Category is nice because then you don't limit yourself too much like I did. But I'm liking it, personally. It's making me pull out things like this had already hit its goal for the year. There hasn't been, outside of pulling it for a seasonal, there hasn't been a lot of reason to pull it out. And so I like having the reason to pull it out. Even though my reason could just be I want to stitch on it, I don't work like that. So, and a lot of the times when I'm looking at categories, I'm looking at things that haven't hit their goal yet. So this still probably wouldn't have been chosen. So it's nice that my hand's forced with this event. The 101 Star Baker is my 1,000 person. Oh. And they did 2 things this week. So. Yeah, so like I'm going to have to focus on this one for Daily 100 this week, but then it's going to have to come back out because this person did something else, and so it's going to get more stitches that way too. In fact, I think there's something from week 1 on this one that I haven't completed yet. I'm aiming to get to 10K remaining during this 24 hours of cross stitch. So whether baking said 500 or 3K, I'm doing lots. Right. Right. But it's just one more excuse, right? It's kind of like I would let this double dip with, like, let's say categories or whip go, something like that, but I won't let it double dip with other things from Great British. So I'm gonna have to get the Daily 100 done separately from, let's say, Elimination 500. This one's not for that. I'm just using it as an example, so that it has to get more. So like Soul Tropica was the Daily 100 last week, but yet it's been called for a bunch of other things, so it's still going to come out a lot. Gonna have to work on it quite a bit. But it's gotten into outside of the issue I had yesterday, it's gotten into a pretty good rhythm where I'm starting to see so much. The progress is starting to make such a difference that I'm like, ooh, could I finish it? Like, it's really starting to come together anyway. I forgot it was 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. Of course, stitching with y'all is all the stitching I'm going to get today because of that. I'm going to take a nap to make sure I'm rested for that party tonight, because when I get home from it, I'll only get a few hours of sleep before I have to go to work tomorrow. So it's like they put us down as people they'll contact anytime they have an event, like a quinceañera or a birthday party or whatever, right? They'll contact us as an op and be like, hey, do you want to put in a bid? Do you want to say, here's how much I'm willing to do the job for? To kind of give the sheriffs a break. But I will say they weren't entirely happy with that situation. Because if they did want the money and we've undercut them, they now have to undercut us. And so they weren't entirely pleased with that. So we had originally booked 2 jobs. So there's the Sweet 16 tonight, and they're having like a homecoming concert next month. And so we were supposed to work both of those, but the sheriffs ended up donating their time for the homecoming. So the school, for whoever's throwing the homecoming, isn't going to have to pay for security at all, which is the best situation for them, right? So I'm glad that we were able to, even though we don't get the work, we were able to assist in getting somebody some money back. I do believe we're booking something that's going to be actually in like the spring, midget wrestling. So it's a possibility. There are options. It's a good little side job. Welcome in, Kelly. I find it very interesting how the Floss 2 community is choosing ways to get whips worked on. Whatever works, right? Yeah. Yep. I find that I am way better at getting like, I'm going to stitch every day no matter what. But I'm going to push myself. I'm much more motivated if a game or something is being like, hey, you need these stitches. Or it helps me pick a project so that you don't get that decision fatigue. Because yeah, I want to work on all of my stuff. But is that feasible? Not necessarily. Yeah, I'm doing some double dipping between games, but not within the games. Exactly. Although I did Monopoly stitching separate from Great British for just extra stitches being applied to something. Makes sense. Okay, I gotta highlight again because I think I've messed up. I'm so good at talking and walking. Talking and stitching. Did that right. One up. Okay, I got it. Yeah, because we've got Monopoly. Monopoly's a big thing. Like, there's several people doing it and in all different ways. We're playing it as a game against each other, which is kind of fun. So there's a bunch of Monopoly games out there. We've got Great British Baking Show, and we had Big Brother, but it just ended. I know that one person was doing Dancing with the Stars. Not one person, some people. So there's a lot of different things out there. WhipGo, I mean, it's basically bingo. I think Milka's been doing like a stitching Uno on her Instagram. I kind of tuned in for it one day and then I wasn't sure what was going on, so I tuned out. But I'm very the bidding jobs is so interesting to me. A lot of Danny's job revolves around the politics at play for bidding jobs. So is it for my job. Like my company that I work for, we're trying to get more work, but yeah, we've got to be the best bid, you know, and it's very, and then, okay, let's say we go to undercut so that we get the work. Well, now we can pay we can't pay our workers as much. So it's like this, it's horrible. I'm very goal oriented, so the different games helps me having something to work towards. Sorry, I was recording my Floss 2 video for the day and now I gotta edit in iMovie. Fun. I edit in iMovie too. Welcome in, Lori. Hi, everybody. I put 1,000 stitches in my Poltergeist Pirate this week. I'm playing Monopoly. Awesome. You have your own board? I don't have many stitching whips, so I'm going to try WhipGo for 2025 just to, I guess, focus my attention a bit better, but I can't do daily games like temperature or weekly like acrostics. I'm also goal-oriented. Having goals and a little bit of pressure works wonders for me. Yes, but you need to make your goals small and realistic because I think you get overwhelmed if you don't. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not right. I'm like that too, though, because like I was ready to UFO fairy tale lands until I started telling myself just one motif. You only have to do one motif a month. You can do more, but if you don't feel like it, like you've accomplished something. And I'm going to have one of those finished in December. You're playing with Jen, so you're using the same concept as what she shows on her floss tube. Jen and Siski are part of why I got started into it too. What about stitching Facebook groups like Magical Stitching with Prompts? Is that still popular around? It's still going. I'm not big on prompt-based stitching anymore, so I don't know how it's going. I haven't been active in that group lately, but I do know it's still going and there's quite a few people over there. I think Semi Sane is still doing some of the games. There are ones out there. There are some that are like D&D based type stuff where it's you stitch for this ingredient, you make a potion, you throw it out. It's competitive play though. You have to be careful. Like some people do competitive well and some people don't. That's why I think WhipGo will work since it's monthly. I may put part of a quilt project in as a goal. There you go. Yeah, WhipGo's no rules, man. Like crochet, time-based, all those things that you don't find with most stitchy games. You can do all that with WhipGo. Get ahead, run a little behind, catch up. Whatever works for you. I feel like I'm a whole mess right now. Oh, that's because, okay. Also don't like prompts. I used to, but, you know, my ability to stitch things has changed or my goals have changed. So I just don't much anymore. Like I like the categories because they don't tell me I have to, you know, find a butterfly. It's just if there's an animal, if there's a plant. You haven't worked on it in a while. I did I did like the prompts, but keeping up with all of the before and after pics always made me quit the groups again eventually. Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, Jesse and I and a couple other friends will message each other when we've done some stitching on the Great British Baking Show or whatever, but there's no group for it. It's solely self-motivated, and we all play it a little bit differently. Which is the freedom of it. Because like Jessie, she gave each person a stitch amount and she stitches on whatever she had already planned on working on that week. Whereas I let it dictate which whip I pull out, but the amount of stitches is a little bit less, because that's what works for me. And some people may be like, I need to get it done before the next episode. Whereas I'm like, I'll add it to the checklist and I'll get to it when I get to it. Bye, Kelly. Have fun baking. Because once I finish like my category goals and my focus goals, then I've got this whole checklist to run through. I don't ever have a point where I'm like, I don't know what to stitch on. I make a lot of other decisions all the time, so it's nice not to have to decide what I'm fixing to work on. And I have a couple friends who are like, if you need to know what to stitch on, just ask me, I'll tell you. No, because the moment you tell me, all of a sudden I don't want to work on it. It really has to be me making the decision. And that's what's nice about this. I decided which whips to use. You know, I decided whether it was something I was going to push myself on or give myself grace on. So, to each their own. Everyone has to find what works for them. And when you do, the progress you will see is just stunning. There are some people that are better at, like, we all know Jessie is not going to change projects 4 times a day like I do. Like, when she and I were sitting down talking about Big Brother, I was like, well, maybe you need to look at it this way. Or she ended up doing categories for each person, so then she could make whatever whip she was working on fit. Whereas I'm like, I want it to pick the whip for me. So you have to be realistic with what helps you the best. And try different things until you find it. Because once you find it, you'll know. Like, what I've been doing lately has been getting me a ton of progress. I don't feel burned out. I don't feel, like I'm pushing myself at all. But yet, the progress has been great. Even on those couple projects that, as much as I love them, I also don't love them. So, I have a few projects like that. But Shangri-La is one of those that I've troubled with for a while, but now I'm starting to see so much progress that I'm really enjoying. I feel like my camera has like moved. Can you see me down here? Absolutely. After a while you get to know what works for you and what not. Yeah, because I am never going to be monogamous. I have to change projects. I enjoy the fact that I'm working on like 3 different projects every day right now, but I'm working on 3 different projects in a day, and 2 of those I work on for multiple days at a time. I would not be able to work on them for multiple days at a time if I was putting more than 100 stitches in, because I would get just overwhelmed or bored or whatever you want to call it. think if we work out one more thread, we're going to get where we need to go. Or we're going to get our 100 and then we can switch projects again. What time is it? Almost 11. I've got about 40 minutes until I have to go. I'm going to try and push my full coverage envelope next year. Currently, with as it stands as of today, Mini Alice in a Dolly Dream needs 684 stitches a week to finish it. And I think that's achievable. And of course, it'll be even less by the time I finish out what more stitching she gets this year. But we're going to try and finish her next year. And that's a lot more than I'm used to putting in on a full coverage, but I would like to see it done. And then it's going to be very tempting to do the same thing for Phantom in 2026 because it needs even less stitches than Alice does. I think I'm going to get QS Ladybugs done this year. So that's fun. I'm definitely getting Celebrate Christmas done. I might be able to get Halloween done. I'm not quite sure, but it's a possibility. Look at that cat eye. Just wait till we put colors in it later. We're just doing the black today. Sorry, I disappeared there for a moment. My brother's in Paris this week, but he flew to London today to go see, I'm not going to try and say that word. So he called to say, hey, that's awesome. Fun stuff. I enjoyed London, but I miss Paris. Paris was great. I would do that trip again in a heartbeat. But I think a lot of it was we didn't put pressure on ourselves to try and see as much as we could see while we were there. We were just like, let's just wander around and see what there is. So I think that's a lot of the reason I enjoyed it so much. This cat is so cute. And evil, kind of evil looking. Kind of reminds me of the Siamese ones on Lady and the Tramp. The way it's like thin and inky. But also very cute. This is the time of year I get grumpy with myself. My outside chores are done, so more craft time. Then I see what I have and ugh, I want to finish one by New Year. Yeah. And actually mine starts in like June. But if I have a lot of, I give every whip a goal that I want it to achieve at some point in the year. And when I have, a dozen of those whips that still need stitches on them, and we're already halfway through the year, I start getting almost like in a panic, or like, oh my goodness, you need to just focus, focus, focus. And luckily this year, I think I only have like 3 projects that haven't hit their goal yet at this point. And then I do finish that Stitch December where it's the one time I'll go semi-monogamous, because I will pick something and work on it until I finish it and then go to the next thing. And I have what I think will be 10 projects on my list for Finish That Stitch December this year. Fingers crossed. So, oops. I did something wrong. Starting to get warm. Not like hot, but you can tell it's warming up outside because I should have the AC on at this point. Remember you and Jesse falling head over heels in love with Alice in a Dolly Dream? In what year did you start it? I started it in 2018. I want to say Jesse was a couple years before that. And Jessie was the reason I did. Like, I was watching, or she was talking about hers, and I was like, that's not really, like, the big-eyed doll girls wasn't really my aesthetic, but I knew that it was something my sister might like, and it just looked like a fun stitch. You started in 2017. Okay, so back to back. Yeah, I saw where Jessie was starting it, and I was like, I think it would be fun to stitch, even though it's not something I would hang on my wall. Welcome in, Joe. First time you've caught a live. Love your projects. Met you last year at Stitching in the Springs. Hope you come back again to visit. I hope so too, but it won't be this year. The job situation just isn't going to allow for it this year, but sorry, distraction. I love that my nerding out is remembered. Yeah, so like I was watching you, one, be so excited about it, and two, like, it just looked like an interesting project. And so I was like, it's not really my aesthetic. It's not something I would hang on the wall, but it does look fun to stitch. And so I talked to my sister, and I let her choose between the Alice one and the one that had Snow White and Alice on it. And she picked the Alice in a Dolly Dream. And I was like, okay, but I need you to understand, I want to stitch this. I want to stitch it for you. But it's going to be like 10 years. Don't be hounding me. Don't be asking when it's going to be done. So what we agreed on is that I would send her regular updates so she could watch it come to life. She's absolutely in love with it. And she has commented a couple times that, like, I can't wait for you to be done. But she hasn't been like, are you working on it? Like, it's great. So, but it is one of the reasons I would choose it to finish next year instead of Phantom, because Phantom is for me. And this one's for my sister. So, speaking of, she's the one blowing up my phone right now about my niece. So, yeah, there's been more than a few things that I can blame on Jess. Because she and I have very similar tastes. And then at the same time, some polar opposite tastes. It's kind of funny. So the first time I started a With Thy Needle and Thread, like, I think she had to pick her jaw up off the floor because she's like, that's not usually your type of thing. But she likes lots of samplers. I'm not a big sampler person. And that's what's fun about the community is you can enjoy a floss tube even if they don't stitch the same thing as you. You can enjoy ones where they do. There's just so much out there. And just because I enjoy watching you stitch it on floss tube doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to run out and do it myself. Sometimes it does. Which reminds me, we should try to do StitchCon 2028, 10-year friendiversary. Yes, I think I can get down with that. That one's a little hard to plan because of the wait list, but we can definitely attempt it. I really want to try and get to Stitch North in the next couple years, especially with some of my friends moving into Canada lately. Yeah, the only retreats I got to do this year were the ones here in Texas that I could just drive to, so I'm not having to pay for flights. And actually, I didn't have to pay for hotel for either one of them either because my roommates already had one of them covered, and then the other one was close enough to my parents that I just stayed with my parents and drove in each day. So, that's the only reason I was able to swing them this year. Okay, I need to count because we're probably at our 100. Kitty is cute with its big eyes. It really is. And they'll be yellow with a line of red right in the middle. So they'll be kind of evil at the same time. Oh, wrong pen. Okay, so I got to my 100 stitches on this one. And I have about 25 more minutes, so we'll go ahead and switch projects for whatever it gets us. This is looking really good. And see, I have the pumpkin spider thing over here. And a witch pumpkin over there. This is a really cute project. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to start that one immediately. And it is on 32 count Logana and Hestia from Under the Sea Fabrics. Perfect, like orange, but not like in your face orange. Okay, so the next one I brought with me. See where we're at with it. We need 500 and oh, just kidding, I finished that one. I'm losing hair. Okay. Might need that chart. Actually, I might have it. I feel like you might have ordered it, actually. But I can't remember. But it is really good. Let me see. Notion. Trick or treat. So this is what it's supposed to. Ooh, glare. Hold on. Oh no, that's part of the picture. Okay, let me. Come on, focus. There we go. Well, that gets you mostly there. So I'm going to switch this bat with this pumpkin, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Oh, now I can't remember. I'm switching something. I'm moving something. Because this middle row of border is 1 stitch too short. My Whipco board next year will be all the chores around the house that I procrastinate. One line will be a new start. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm gonna switch this screen. Because the only other project I brought with me, I've already finished my goal on it. So, and I've only got 20 more minutes, so just relax. Let's see. Yeah, so that pumpkin's going to go to the bottom middle block, and the bat is going to come up to that block. Oh, I lost my chat. Hold on. We had technical difficulties this morning. Nothing wanted to work right. Nothing. So my Whipco board is all, well, at least this year, is all people making choices for me. I'm telling you, that's the theme of my year. So, like this month, I believe it was Ryan and Kate. I let them pick from my whip list, and they, Ryan picked Angel of the New Dawn, and Kate picked Star Dragon. Which was really exciting because I wanted to work on Star Dragon again. Let's see. Let's take a look. So I need 197 stitches on Edgar. It's my newest start, which means it only needed 500 for the year. And haven't finished that yet. I put 302 stitches, 303. QS Ladybug, which will be my daily 100 this week. Well, actually, I think I'm going to do my Mill Hill first, but it's a quirky Quaker. It'll be finished in no time. So, but its current still needs 398. Mad Tea Party needs 77, but I'm not sure if I have all the entries for this week that I worked on it. So that may be completed already. QS Ladybug needs 337. It's probably my highest. Soul Tropica needs 46. And that's it. That's all I need to complete all my goals on all my projects. So all my full coverages needed 3,000. All my other projects needed 2,000 unless they're a new start, and then they need 500. Now, if they got called for Whipco, I added 500 on to the yearly goal because I did not want it being called for Whipco, knocking stitches off the yearly goal. I wanted that to be on top of. So I will go in and I will change the goal after somebody calls on it, which is why, like, Soul Tropica is at 3,000 because it started out as 2,000, but it's been called twice this year. I may stick with that again next year. I may go ahead and put actual whips back on the board. I'm hoping to be at 30 and 25 of them go on a whip go board. Alice won't because I'm focusing on her so much, so it kind of helps. There are stuff and things. Let's see. I currently have 42 whips in progress. So bad. So bad. Oh, wait, hold on. Because it has my QS Ladybug in there 3 times. So once I take those 2 out, I'm sitting at 40. I think I can get 10 finished by the end of the year. Because my Quirky Quaker Ladybug... Celebrate Christmas, maybe celebrate Halloween. Fairy Tale Lands 2. Maybe Ladies Who Lunch. Living with Charm will be done. Love Bugs can get done. Mystery Kitty will be done. The Fox I can finish. Patriotic Tiny Town technically for me is already done, but I won't count it as done until it gets back. Evergreen Sleigh will be done. So definitely I think we can get below 30. The only thing is like when I finish those smalls, I'm starting another small, so but it's not a big deal. I'm thinking I want Moonlight Sampler as my stitch along next year to split it into 12 and have it finished by the end of the year. But I'm not sure how feasible that is. I haven't actually gone through and looked at it. But when I was working on it last night and I'm getting close to a page finish, I'm like, could I possibly, let's see. So I have a little bit left of page 1, all of page 2, all of page 3. Never mind. Just, that's it. Gotta go. It's dinner time over here. Happy stitching to everyone and good night. Thank you. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I'll be heading out in the next 10 to 15. So I don't think I realized how many pages Moonlight Sampler was. I have I have almost 3 pages done out of what, 9 or 12? Out of 9. I have almost 4 pages done out of 9 because page 8, I just need a little bit of that wave that's at the bottom, and page 1, I'm finishing up. Yeah, I think it'd be too overwhelming to try and make it work next year. Okay, back to the drawing board. I might be able to do Gift of Giving, because pretty much I have the characters along the bottom and some words left. And then I'm getting, so I don't know. I could probably do Trick or Treat. I'd have to get half a block each month. Yeah, I think I could probably do that. Some of them, like Lilith, could be finished next year, but the idea of having to split up what I have left, I don't feel like it. Just because it's not as easy as going, okay, so on Trick or Treat, I need to finish half a block. Family Patchwork still needs a lot. Spangled still needs a lot. Angel of the New Dawn needs a lot. That one's finished. I finished Haunted Mansion. I'm going to move it to my finished folder. And I'm so anal, I don't even, like, I could remove it, right? I'm not going to stitch it again. Do I? Nope. Just move it to the finished folder. I finished April Wordplay too. Move to finished. Now, I'll finish Fairy Tale Lands 1 at the end of the year, but then I just pull in I'll finish 2, I'll pull in 1 next year. So that spot doesn't really become open because of that. Heartful of Gratitude, I think could very easily be split into 12, but it would also be too easy, kind of like Living with Charm was this year. I don't want to do Hummingbird Fairy. Amethyst I've barely started on. It's pretty big. The Dark Queens are too much for me to split up. Maybe World Postage Stamp, because I think I'm on the last page of that. Growth Rings. Sometimes you have to like a project, you know? Like, I like working on Growth Rings when it comes out, but it's not one I'm like, ooh, I need to see a finish on this one. And I think it's that whole mandala thing. I don't know. I don't even know how you're there. Dark Queen of the Earth. Yeah. So I'm thinking Trick or Treat might be my split into 12 for next year. That sounds like fun. Also, I have like 3 Bella Filipinas on the go. I've got 3 Miras on the go. Like, I need to quit doing this to myself. Change it up some. There's so much stuff I want to work on. If I tell myself, no, you can't start another Nora just because you finished this one. And like, I can finish Celebrate Christmas and Celebrate Halloween, and I'll want to start the next one, whichever one, Celebrate 4th of July, Celebrate Love, whatever. But I won't let myself start 2 of them, so there's that. Because I have Garden Prelude, I have Angel of the New Dawn, I have Miss Christmas Eve and Lilith of Labrador. Why do I do this? And it's like, okay, take one of them out of rotation and just bring it back in when you finish one of the others. But which one? How do you decide? And like, I really want to work on Star Dragon. It's so good. It's so good. Owl Forest, man, I really like their stuff. So we did not do, oh, if y'all want to make guesses on how many stitches I got done today, we won't talk about how many Carolyn Mannings I have going. See, and it's like, if you're not trying to limit your numbers, if I wasn't trying to limit my numbers, okay, start all the things. No big deal. But because I like to try and touch on all of mine so regularly, and my idea, and I know y'all have heard this from me 1,000 times, and I did it once this year at the very beginning of the year, is to be able to touch on every project within a month. So like if you pull a different project every day, you can finish the entire month. Holly says 224. I only worked on 2 projects, if that helps. Holly, 224. Laurel says 215. So that's why 30 is my number. I've been working at it for 3 years now. I don't even know. I was at over 70, and I'm down to 40 now, and I'm trying to get down to 30, and I can be there by the end of the year. It's staying there because then I'm like, I could start things. Lori, 237. Betty, 185. Hey, Betty. I want to do Treasure Island from Owl Forest. Ooh. I want to do a lot of their things. They have a new one out. was it Black Rose? I don't remember the name, but it looks gorgeous. I want to, yeah. So when you're limiting your numbers and you have 4 of this designer and 3 of this designer, well, that takes up 7 slots that could only be 2, you know? And I did that, was a year before last, or maybe a couple more years ago than that, is if I had any duplicate designers, I picked one, and once I hit the goal for the year on it, I would switch in the other one. That's tempting. That would definitely get me under 30 next year and allow me to be able to start stuff sometimes. Because here's my thing. Once I get these 10 knocked out in December or 12 or whatever it is, what I have left, there's not going to be a lot of finishing. They're big things. And yes, they're going to get more progress because I'm not working on those other 10 things that I finished. But then you're not leaving yourself a lot of room to start things. And I like starting things too. Yeah, the Black Castle one, that's Black Rose. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. But so anyway, I know I overthink it and I've got all this whatever. But in January, I did have I think I was at 34 or something like that. And the way that it works out with my daily 100s and yada yada, I was able to touch everything in January. I haven't tried to do it since, because as you can see, I'm doing chaotic stitching here lately, but, I want to get back to it eventually. We'll see. Just thoughts. You know, we all make plans, and best laid plans. The best thing about plans is when we break them and we have to come up with new plans, because those of us that like organizing and like planning, you don't get to do it all that often if you stick to it. So when you're sitting there going, oh, well, you know, that didn't work out. Or again, it's back to finding the thing that works for you. But it's also, if you don't break your plans, your plans are made. And then what do you do when planning is something that you like to do? So there's that. I just start what I want when I want, and I'm happy that way. And that is perfectly great. I am happy for you. And I was that way once, and I may get to that point again at some point. But I'm enjoying the amount of progress that I'm making right now, the seeing the changes. So that's why I'm opting to do things this way. Everyone has to find to each their own. Monogamy, constant project switching, lots of stitches, little stitches, lots of large projects, small projects. That's where I'm needing to find more of a balance, is between having small projects and having large projects. Sometimes planning is more fun than executing. Yep, that definitely. Watching others plan is very satisfying for me. So I think if y'all will make plans and break them constantly, so I have to watch your video every week, that would help me not feel the need to do it. No, but seriously, the people that make all the plans and then the next week they come back and they're like, well, you know, this worked, this didn't. Here's how we're making adjustments, right, Joe? Yeah, I find those more entertaining than just, here's what I stitched this week. I find those entertaining, but not as much so as all the crazy spastic planning chaos. All right, that's it for me for this Saturday. I thank you so much for joining me. I find it fun. I know some of y'all do, because I get messages. Are we doing live? Are we going live? I was on Zoom last night and they were asking me, are we going live? So, plans this week. I work Sunday through Wednesday. I'm free on Thursday, so we will be here for a kitten stitch Thursday night. Friday I have plans. Saturday morning we'll be here for Saturday. What did I put? Saturday sips with Sammy. Where we just kind of chill. we just have a relaxing Saturday morning where we get some stitching done, because that's how Saturday. If you're gonna get me up this early, don't expect a whole lot from me. Wait, who gets the drawing? Oh, planning is kidding. That makes sense. Okay, you're right. Hold on, let me see. Holly's like, it better be me. So funny story, because when we had all the technical difficulties the other day, it cut me off and y'all didn't get to hear my funny story. So we do this where everybody puts in a guess for how many stitches we completed during stream. And Enid had put in, I think, a pretty low guess, right? I'm trying to find that day. Yeah. So Enid had said 85. She would kind of low, but you know, it's the closest without going over. So it was that whole Price is Right plan of everybody else guesses really high, I guess kind of low, and we meet somewhere in the middle. So we were joking about that. And then Jessie came in with a guess of 88, which did not leave a lot of room for Enid's, lowball guess. But then when I added up my stitching that day, I had stitched 87. So everyone except for Enid had overguessed. And you can still guess, Enid. I haven't even looked at the numbers yet. So everyone had overguessed and she got an entry. Then the next day, when we did it, everybody put in their guesses. Holly guessed 333, and my amount of stitching for that day was 332. So she was just, her and Jessie back-to-back days were like both that close, but over. So even though it's only one number different, you went over, because this is the Price is Right. Okay. Jessie's going to say 88 because that was a good year. I mean, can't disagree with you. Jessie says 88. Do you want to put in a guess, Enid? I'm going to go try and find my... We know the first project got 100 stitches. Period. A second project... Joe says 77. Guess for what? How many stitches we did during stream today? 74. All right. Alrighty. So I think we got everybody in. I did 100 stitches on Mini Alice in a Dolly Dream. Exactly. Because it's a block. And then on Trick or Treat, I did 119. So that is 219 stitches today. Past the ibuprofen. Which means Laurel with 215 was the closest guess today. 1019. So Laurel gets put in for a guess or entry for the end of the month. We're getting close to that because today is the 19th. So let's see. Let's look at a calendar. Calendar. So we will have stream on the 24th and the 26th. I'm not streaming on Halloween because, you know, I've got kids and things. So on the 26th, we will do the drawing. That'll give 2 more entries between now and then. Unless the other thing is, if you guess the exact number, you get an entry no matter what. Or you get double entries. Because Jessie did that back in July. Now, typically we will have a drawing at the end of every month but I had like a weird hiatus in the middle of all this. So I have two entries from June, one from August, two from September, and the rest from October. So I have two options for the prize, because I know I don't want you to get a prize that you don't want, but I also don't want to make it super broad. So I'm going to have two things to choose from. You can choose one or the other, whoever wins. So, and then I will ship it out. All right. That is it for me. I've got to go have lunch. I'm going to take a nap, go to work. So I will see y'all around Floss Tube on Monday, back here on Thursday. So have a wonderful week. Happy stitching. Get in all the stitches, and I'll see y'all next week.